Right, hello. It's another guide on a matchup that's been mentioned a few times, but it's like I don't see particularly too often, so I haven't really bothered to do one on it yet, but I'll do it now. It's into RedFasa. I'd say exclusively RedFasa. The other versions you see, like Purple Fasa and stuff, they're so uncommon, and it's the threats in those decks I'd say are different to the threats in this deck, but they do sort of play the same, so maybe you can put it in the same category. But Red Faster, of course, gets to utilize the red ladies and all of the red removal and just all of the red cards. So um, we play into it. We're still quite fearful of that. And with Fasa, they're another deck like okay, they're not like Amber Steel, but they do pseudo ramp and they utilize cards like Doc and Gaston to play bigger threats earlier on at a discount price. So I'd say this matchup, it's not uh, it's not free. I'd say it's not like oh Red Fast is a bad deck. It's free. It's not. Red Fast is a good deck. If you play anyone who's good on the deck and proficient on it as well, that's such a challenge. Um, they're aggressive. They quest for a lot. They play big characters. That it's quite it can be quite a scary matchup sometimes, but I still think we can come out on the top. And on the play, you should see no real problems with it. So some things to watch out for is Red Fasa is it has basically a couple lines that it plays, um, and then after that, it's just playing big characters on the board. This is from my understanding of Red Fasa. I played it here and there. It was actually when Set 4 launched, it was a deck that I looked at to go to. Um, I mean, one of the earlier sort of plays is they will try to get a Mulan, the one drop that's a 2/3 and it takes 2 damage, or they'll try to get a Mother Gothel setup, which is a War 3/4 that takes 3 damage. They want that to stick on the board because on turn 4 they can play Rapunzel and then draw a bunch of cards, and then after that, it's for me it's not just that they draw the bunch of cards. They'll get a 3/4 and a 1/5 that quests for 2, and they've got a really strong board. And we don't have cards like Brawl or Medusa, so a 1/5 we have to find 5 damage for it, and we actually have to because if not, they will just keep questing. They play a lot of two questers, and that's something that I find quite scary about the deck as well. They'll just keep putting the pressure. Even Gas, no, not Gaston, so even Doc, which I've seen less of recently, will quest for 2. Mufasa will quest for 2. And they'll just keep putting the pressure on us, and they'll just keep turning sideways. And it's another matchup where Wheel can be quite scary because if they don't get this draw power from Mulan and Mother Gothel with Rapunzel, they kind of miss out on the draw and they will just gas out. It's pretty much their only draw. They've got a Madrigal card now as well. That's one card. That's more of a cycle, but still. Um, yeah, it's a deck where we probably don't want to be using our wheel unless we really have to. Unless we're doing like, hey, I'm just gonna go get my dime and win this game now. Otherwise, we probably want to hold back on that. Yeah, as I say, the other play is they want to play their discount characters, or they want to play their characters for a discount, which is the pseudo ramp aspect of their deck. They'll try and get to Gaston, and once Gaston's down, I think he's a 2/4 or something, and then Doc is a 2/3. Um, we want to take those out. It will be quite awkward for us, but if we let it sit on there and it gets to do its thing and play a 6 card from Gaston, or it gets to play a Mufasa from its dock, or a Maui, or whatever they want to play, it puts us in a tough spot. And basically, we want to deal with it because if we keep letting it do that, they just keep playing discount characters and they just flood the board. But yeah, going into the fight, I mean, okay, we're back to Argus for 3. Just don't question my deck building abilities because I keep jumping around. But I think this is probably where I'm settling right now. I've got a few more tests to do on Tuesday, but yeah. So yeah, if we're on the play, of course, or just on the draw as well. Actually, yeah, on the play or on the draw. Argus and Smee are just good to get on the board. We've got a thing on the board that can now trade and take things out. But as I mentioned, those Mulan and Mother Gothel cards, we might just want to take it out, especially if we're closing in on turn 4 and we think they're gonna heal it and get a lot of value out of it. So we can just take it out. That might force them to just play a Rapunzel on the board. This is also a thing to mention as well. Tinkerbell, grab your swords. It's very risky for us to leave anything with just some damage counters on it. One, I'd say fair enough. One is fine. If it's two, that's scary, and three is not good for us because they will Rapunzel and draw 3 cards, and they'll heal their character. They might even look for trades where they can just put damage on their character. So it can be quite scary just leaving damage counters on their boards. They have a lot of heal draw cards, So in my opinion, if you're going to take something out, take it out. Do not let it linger around on the board, because they'll just heal it up, and then they'll have a stronger board for it, and it'll be harder. But as I say, yep, Argus, Smee, you can put them on turn 1 or 2. If they miss those earlier hurt themselves cards, that's great because we have this thing out, and then it can be like Doc can be hit by either of these two, and then Gaston can be hit by this if they. As I say, we want to take it as soon as we can. If we can Zeus it, that would be great. But if we can't, we can still let it go activate once and then trade. It's not bad. We want to be ramping because we want to fight their board with our Tinkerbell. Um, so yeah, just basically try get the ramp in, but yeah, don't try lose the board and don't let them quest too much. As I say, most of their deck will have 2 questers, but yeah, take the ramp. Quill is better for that. We can get a Tinkerbell earlier, and in their deck they play no cards that can remove items. So once an item's down, it's going to stick. Some still play bare necessities. Just don't underestimate a few cards they might play, which is bare necessities. Be prepared. Most play 4x brawl. They might even still be lingering on a lantern card. But don't underestimate these cards. I'm not saying every RedFasa deck will have these, but they might still be in the deck. So just think about that. Just think, hold on, is this one of the ones that play Be Prepared? And maybe hold a few cards back in hand if you're going into that turn 7. But overall, they don't play too much. They don't play those cards as much. They mainly just go full characters and 4x sprawl these days. But still don't underestimate the idea that they might have a bare necessities. As I say, Bell's just a ramp target. She'll just die to all the red removal, but it's dime and ramp target. Dime target, and she'll give you more ramp if you put her on the board. And they will have to deal with her. Them playing brawl I mean, it's upsetting when they brought any of your characters, but they don't ink too high because they like to play the discount characters. Actually, they do go quite high on their ink. Sorry, but yeah, if they've got to brawl it on a turn, that's 3 ink spent. I'm trying to oversell this. It's not that important. She's gonna give you ramp and dime. Hiram's good, yep. Hiram's got a great draw power. We might be more reliant to use Hiram over Honeywell because I say they might just gas out and just be playing a character a turn. At that point, we can just keep Hiram drawing, quill the Holy World away, or we can keep a Holy World because we were like, all right, we're going to get to a point where we're almost going to win by dime. Sing Holy World, find dime, win. So that's good. Cogsoft's good because be wary about Be Prepared, but it's unlikely they'll use one. They might even have Big Sisu. That's not. I don't know how common that is in the decks these days because it's 8 cost, but a lot of them play the smaller one and try to get the shift out. So Cogsoft's fine, and he's gonna make your trades better. But do not think it's like a steel matchup where he's gonna sit there. They've still got chances to take him out. So yeah, it's not too bad. As I said, it's unlikely they play Lantern, but it might do. And a 4/4 on the board's alright. This is another situation where he's just a 4/4, and that's not bad. Ariel's good. Some of them still play Tremaine, but if you get to a point where you can keep their board in check, or keep them to a point where they're just not going to win, and you have a dime and an Ariel set up, you can just keep tapping her, and then just win. Tap once, maybe get some early or tap once her, and then tap quest and you win, and they can't do anything about it. Tinkerbell, yep, get her on the board. Try and get her on the board, start taking things out. That 1 damage across is a bit unhealthy because, as I say, they will probably just heal and draw. But just get her out there and get her fighting as soon as you can. Yeah. Tamato is good. Some of them still linger around with the big dragon, the Maleficent. I think getting to 9 ink is quite hard for them. Getting it on discount is still, fairly awkward. They have to get it on 7, and a lot of them, like I said, Lantern's around, but a lot of them are cut Lantern. So actually playing her has become quite a bad thing, and they don't. So once a Tamato is down, unless they Tremaine it, it's probably going to stick. So he's not a bad thing to develop if you can protect him from Tremaine attacks. Baboom's good, yeah, I say it on the draw, or even on the play. If you just want to make sure they don't get the Rapunzel card draw from their damage characters, you can use this to just finish one off. But I will mention on the play, if you're just going into a whole new world play, you're sort of not going to mind them doing the Rapunzel because you'll ramp down, play your Tinkerbell, probably sing a whole new world, and then just play a bunch of stuff that can take out that Rapunzel, and take out the rest of their board. But We probably don't want to opt for the whole new world, so taking out their early things on the play is still a good option. On the draw, we just never want a whole new world. It's just it's it's one of them 5 or 10% chances we want to. We really just need to rush to find the dime at the end, but we'd be looking for a Hiram draw. So also we would also be looking to take out their cards. So I'm saying the boom is good on the play and on the draw, but on the draw I feel it has a little bit more importance of stopping them doing their Rapunzel draw from a damaged character. Titans are useless in this matchup. I don't think there's one target unless they play Lanterns. So yeah, just throw that in the inkwell. Zeus is good. Let's say if you can get a Hiram set up, he can sing it, which is nice. If you Mickey Hiram and then sing Along Came Zeus and then like keep trading and using the ink you have on that turn, that's a really good turn in my opinion. Um, I mean, I'm gonna say this crazily. I don't think you're ever gonna be in a meta where there's a lot of uh, Fasa. It's sort of a fringe pick deck, but Zeus is really strong as this matchup. So you could go up on counts on that if you're just really fearing Fasa. Uh, just putting more Zeus is always good in your deck. So even if you did that just for the Fasa, it would have loads of impacts on your other matchups. It's a good card. It's just uninkable, so I keep it at 2, and I feel I keep the board in check with just 2. Let It Go is good for the Fasa. Like, giving them the ink isn't great because they play bigger, stronger characters and you get them closer to it without having to use the Gaston. But if they play a Fasa, you can just do this and be like, okay, and what's your next turn? Because they might be gassed out to 1 or 2 turns and they were hoping the Fasa would proc into something nice for them. Um, Also to mention, a lot of them, I see Chernobog appear sometimes in lists, so Let It Go on a Chernobog is probably our only out. Otherwise, we're gonna have to do awkward things like double Zeus or Zeus and hit it, or it's just gonna be awkward. So Let It Go is a good thing to keep around. If you wheel into if you draw into it, it might not be your primary ink target. Like if you've got like okay, that easily your primary ink target, but if you've got like another 2 drop that's just probably never gonna hit the board, you probably want to hold on to that Let It Go. I say bare necessities is few and far between, but it might go away. But I would rather have the value of it in my hand and risk it getting bare necessities for taking out a Chernobog or a Fasa. So yeah, it's pretty good in this matchup, and you could justify adding more as well here. So I don't know if your meta is full red, blue, and Fasas. I'd just go up on Let It Go counts, and I think you'd be in a good spot. Yeah, Whole New World's not redundant, but it's less impactful in this game because they just don't have purple draw, they don't have Hiram draw. Um, they don't have their own Whole New World like an Amber Steel, so their draw power is quite low. It's only on those healing, and if you can keep that in check with the boom and removal options, you just basically don't need to wheel because they'll gas out, and then you can just go for the win. But still, yeah, if you're like, I've just got no options, play it, sing it, whatever, it's Whole New World. You know the deal. Um, Gravity Swords is good, but as I mentioned before, if you play it, make sure that you clear the things that you played it onto. Do not just play it to put some damage out and go, right, next turn I'll do this. Because they will have heal options. It's probably the deck that has the most, or probably the deck that only has the heal options in this meta right now, doesn't it? It's really strong. Um, it's really strong. It's not particularly strong. It's just that's how they get their card draw. So putting damage counters is just a bad thing, I think. Unless let's say the situation is you've noticed they haven't got any Rapunzels because they've been inking them, or like they've inked 2 or they've played 1 and inked 1 and you're like, the odds of them having another one, I can spread this damage out over 2 turns. But still remember, it's risky. That's where they get their card draw. What was good? Cool. Yep, Popsicles. Quilt, yeah, we'll get you to your bigger Tinkerbells earlier. So I would probably, yeah, I might opt to play a Quill over it if it means I get my Tinkerbell out. So that's good. Yeah, Dime, only set it up if they really just can't win the game. Um, no, sorry, if they're not racing for the win, play it because there will get to a point when it will just be, I play thing at quest for 2 every turn, and after it's played, the following turn it's just going to quest for 2. If you can keep that in check, manage your inkwell properly, and get to a dime, that's great. You're in a really winning spot. But I would prioritize controlling them over the dime just for the immediate. Um, Possibly even on the play, because as I say, it's just going to play a 2 quest at every turn after turn 1 or 2. It'll just um, or even sometimes, sorry, later on. But they're just going to turn things sideways and race you. And it might seem at the start, oh, they've just been turning sideways, this small thing. But it's like, yeah, now they've got 2 Rapunzels on board. What's it called? RedFasa, Tremaine, and they're all just turning sideways, and I haven't dealt with them because I'm trying to set up a dime, you know. So just think about those things as well. Think how much lore they're going to get each turn if you don't deal their characters. Think if you can afford to win with the dime before they're going to win with their questers. They do not have any immediate lore besides Super Goofy. That's the only, and let's be honest, Super Goofy's been cut a lot. Even then, that's going to give them only two lore in that turn. So what is quite a good thing to do in maths is count up how much they can quest for turn and then just add two on top. And if that's not going to game win and you're like, right, I can pass this turn, it comes back to me and I die and win, that's good. You know, that's a nice way to look at the matchup. Yeah, let's just do a simulated draw for on the play, and these usually end up sucking. Um, okay, so there's some decent-ish cards here. I mean, we don't need the whole new worlds, don't need the big tam. Um, I yeah. I could argue that we'd want to be reactive on the board so early on because they're just a strong, heavy character deck, but also Harem's just great draw. So I think actually, yeah, we'd go one, hopefully not miss turn two from what we draw. Play Mickey, maybe even get a 5 drop instead of the Harem, was depending on what's happening. But I'd say keeping the Harem's also debatable because you just want earlier interaction with the board. You're probably going to draw into more card draw. You've got a Purple Score to cycle, so you're going to have one card deeper in the deck. Um, so yeah, 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 okay, I'd probably keep the harem though. Maybe draw another harem, but you know, what we've got here is not the worst looking hand in the world. I think I'd probably have to. This is the thing with this. Yeah, I think I'd ink. Hmm, it's likely it's just gonna get brawled, but I would probably ink a harem. I know it feels horrible. No, I'd probably ink the Fortis Fit. No, they're both very good cards to ink. I think in this spot. Probably ink the Fortisphere. No, sorry, probably ink the Hiram. Yeah, I'll go with the Hiram. We'll hopefully try another one or Whole New World, or maybe they'll gas out because I'd like the two items. And if Hiram doesn't die to Brawl, we've got two items for him to use, so that's great. Yeah, I think that's what I'd go for. And someone roast me in the comments if you would have inked the item. Uh, Shocking hand. How many is that? Is that six uninkables? Marvelous. We are on the draw, so we might want to win the board quite heavy. But I don't think Mickey's going to be the one to do it for us. So, yeah, he's great for maths versus RP and for King Undisputed. Just getting a body on the board so you can add up your damage with yeah, with like your spells, your trades. But for this, I just kind of want to get Tinkerbell on the board, to be honest with you. So I'd probably keep the Quill, which just does feel a bit wrong when I say it. I might regret it. That I think that one might be too slow. I just want to get Tinkerbell as early as I can. So it's not too bad. It's not no, we've got a diamond opening hand, so that's for any blue steel player. Diamond opening hand is just a massive negative. And we're probably going to ink the Tamatoa on turn one unless we draw something else that's even more uninkable, like a Titans. But we've got the Baboon for the reactive Mulan or the Gothel. So and then we've got a Zeus. If the hand's getting really bad, we'll have to ink the Quill that we kept. I don't know how bad. So that was 6 uninkables, and we got back 4 uninkables. That's just blue steel for you in a nutshell. But yeah, we might draw a Popsicle so we can ink the Tamatar, play the Popsicle, and then hopefully draw. But yeah, the Baboom on the draw is really quite powerful in this matchup. So I'd say this hand still has some legs to it. If we get the Quill, I don't like quilling a dime, especially in this meta, but if we're not looking to whole new world and find another Tamatar, you might want to go for that. But I'm just sort of playing this hand out, and I haven't even seen the draws that we'd get as the turns turn on. But yeah, as I said, the things to mention is target the Mulan and Mother Gothel because they'll try and Rapunzel it, and they'll try and get a Gaston or a Doc set up so they can play characters reduced. That's mainly their two major lines, and then from that they just turn sideways and quest. They still have all the red removal, or not all of it, sorry. They still have, yeah, probably, yeah, they have access to all of it, is what I mean. So keep that in mind when you play them as well. But yeah, I think you can get a nice win on these as well. As if you just keep them in check, they're just going to be putting characters out. They're not going to be doing anything fancy with castles or dimes or anything like that. So yeah, I hope some of that has helped.